Minutes ago, we were walking in, and my buddy in Tennessee, he had no idea I was about to come see you speak, and he sent me a link to an article that was posted yesterday in Esquire. And the headline is, "Did Stephen King's son just solve a 44-year-old murder mystery?" And so I hadn't heard any of this, and I quickly went through it. It's really, can you tell the story about this? It's really fascinating.
So first of all, another huge spoiler. I come from a family of writers. My dad has written a couple books and seems to be off to a pretty good start. So I'm looking forward to what he does next. I feel like there's a guy who has a real future in this business. So there has been sort of some hullabaloo. That's such a great word to say, hullabaloo. This feels good. There's been some noise about a semi-crackpot theory that I advanced 3 years ago. I have an imagination for spinning ghost stories. That's kind of like the thing that I'm best at, is coughing up ideas for ghost stories. So I'll give you the theory, and you guys can make up what you will. I read a few years ago a book called Skeleton Crew by Deborah Hallberg, which is about amateur sleuths on the internet investigating unsolved cold cases. And for these amateur sleuths, the holy grail that they've tried to solve, they have not yet solved, is the story of the Lady of the Dunes, which is a local story. The Lady of the Dunes is a woman who was found dead in July of 1974 outside of Provincetown. I'll try to, I won't get too explicit, but her body had been badly mauled to make it impossible to identify her. Her hands had been removed, teeth had been removed as well. That was 1974. 40 years later, she has still never been identified, and her killer has never been caught. Probably, if she could be identified, then her killer could be caught, which is why someone went to so much effort to make it impossible to identify her. I read about the Lady of the Dunes a few years back and thought it was fascinating, read up some more online, and it just sort of floated there in the back of my head. 3 or 4 months after I read the story of the Lady of the Dunes, I went to go see my favorite movie on the big screen. Now, my favorite movie in the whole world is Jaws, and I've seen it every single year for 30 years. I've seen this movie 30 plus times. But I've never seen it on the big screen until 2015. In 2015, it was re-released for the 40th anniversary. And I took my teenage boys and a bunch of friends, and we all went to go see it, the summer film to end all summer films. And I was watching the movie, and about a third of the way in, my whole body covered with goosebumps, and I kind of jolted forward out of my seat. When I was researching the Lady of the Dunes, I had seen a facial reconstruction of what she would have looked like in life. And there, in the first third of Jaws, in a giant crowd scene, a woman looked over her shoulder and almost just loomed out of the crowd, and it was her. And I thought, I didn't say anything to anyone then. I just thought, you're crazy, And I also thought, this is the way my imagination works. It makes ghost stories. And wouldn't that be a great ghost story? What if the last person to see the Lady of the Dunes alive was whoever just watched Jaws? What if millions of us had seen her because she's in this movie? Some time passed. I actually went home that night, looked on my computer, rewatched Jaws, and tried to find her again, and couldn't. But I told people what I had experienced, and I'm casually friends with an FBI agent, and I told him this theory, expecting to get, because I write scary stuff, and so anyway. So I'm talking to this FBI friend.